So from almost to altogether, from almost to altogether. Today we're looking at a beautiful, holy, very messy reality. We're going to walk through the fields with a young, overlooked shepherd boy. We're going to stand on a dusty, ancient street corner and watch a man born blind receive the gift of sight, not through some grand religious ceremony in a gilded sanctuary, but through the humble, earthy, and frankly quite weird combination of spit and dirt. We're going to wrestle with a question that echoes through every generation. What does it actually mean to follow God with your whole heart? Talking about a movement of the Spirit. The movement of taking the church to where people actually are. We're looking at how we move from being almost Christians, people who have the look of faith, but a heart that is still somewhere else, to being altogether Christians, who are fully, wildly, and dangerously alive in God's love. Our story starts with a prophet. A prophet named Samuel who was deep in the valley of grief. He was mourning over a leader named Saul, a king who Saul looked the part, standing head and shoulders above everybody else, but who had stopped listening to the Lord. The prophet was stuck. He was grieving the past, the religious structures, and the way things used to be. But the Lord told him, "How long are you going to grieve over Saul? Fill your horn with oil and set out. I'm sending you to Bethlehem. I've chosen one of the sons there to be king." Now, in our churches today, we sometimes get stuck in that same place of sadness. We look for new leaders or new strategies that they look important. We want somebody tall, somebody strong, somebody who fits the mold of what we think success looks like. But the Lord told Samuel, and He's telling us right now, do not consider his appearance or his height. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. The Lord looks at the heart. A healthy church is not about having a big shiny building or a fancy program or every seat in the pews filled up. It's about having a heart that is tuned to the frequency of God. Just like the prophet had to overlook the big, strong brothers to find the young, dusty shepherd out in the fields, we have to look past our big traditions to find where God is already starting something small, something unconventional, something new. We have to realize that faith is like a magnifying glass. Whatever we choose to look for, we amplify. If you use your faith to look for kings, for stature, for status, for the way things used to be, you will amplify those things until that is all you see. But if you use your faith to look for the heartbeat of God, you will start to see Him in the places others have missed, in the dusty corners, in the ordinary people, in the wild spaces of our neighborhoods, of our universities. The question is, what are you choosing to magnify this week? John Wesley wrote this sermon years and years, well, it had to be years and years and years ago, but it's called About the Almost Christian. And it describes a person who is, by all social standards, a good person. They're honest. They show up in the right places. They know the rules. They say the right things. But here's the truth. You can be incredibly sincere and still be almost. You can work hard for the church, follow every rule, but if your motive is just doing your duty rather than being so in love with God that you can't help but serve everybody out there, you are still almost. In the story of the man born blind, the the religious leaders were the classic almost Christians. They weren't just being difficult. They were protecting the Sabbath, the most sacred rule in their cultivated garden. They were so focused on the rule of the day that they missed the God of the day. They were so busy defending the form of their religion, they couldn't see the light of a miracle right in front of them. Jesus disrupted their most holy tradition to save a person, proving that an altogether faith always prioritizes mercy over the permit. So how do we go from almost to altogether? Well, you've got to be willing to get a little messy. When the man born blind was healed, Jesus used spit and dirt to make the mud. It was earthy. It was a fresh expression of God's love in the middle of a very messy world. This is what it looks like to be the church today. It's what we call a mixed ecology. Think of it this way. Our traditional church, this beautiful sanctuary, is like a cultivated garden. It's tended, it's ordered, it's a place of peace, hopefully. We need the garden. But God is not just the God of the garden. He is the God of the wilderness too. Out there, way out there, in the coffee shops, the digital spaces, the tattoo parlors, the libraries, the parks and neighborhoods, and the pizza shops. That's the wild. It's unmanicured. It's the unpredictable. And it is teeming with life. See, an altogether church realizes that the garden and the wild, they need each other. We gather in the garden to receive the oil, the nutrients of Scripture and sacrament, so that we can go out and plant wild expressions. Place where people already live, where they already get together. We don't choose one over the other. We graft them together. They're both needed. The wild keeps the garden from becoming a museum, and the garden keeps the wild rooted in the story of Jesus. So I know some of y'all are looking at me like, I hear you, but I don't know how to start something new. I'm just an ordinary person. Remember in Exodus 4, God asked Moses when he was standing in the desert, feeling unqualified and afraid, and God asked, "What is that in your hand?" And Moses said, "It's a staff." God told him to throw it down, and it turned into an asp, a snake. And Moses ran away from it like all good-hearted people would. That's our natural reaction to moving into the wild spaces. It feels dangerous. It feels like something that could bite us. But God told Moses, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. To pick up a snake by the tail is the most counterintuitive, stupidest thing you could ever do. But it also requires total, altogether trust. Moving out of your comfort zone to reach a neighbor in a wild feels risky. But the miracle only happens when you stop running and you start reaching. When Moses grabbed it, it became a staff of God. You don't need a golden scepter. You just need an offer with what you already have. And we have to be honest. This kind of disruption, it's like a buzzsaw. It's not comfortable. When you stop waiting for the king and start looking for the shepherd, you're going to run into friction. And there's a song. Has anybody ever heard of a musical group called The Who? Raise your hand if you know who The Who is. I've had this song in my head for the last 4 days. My gosh. And they have a song, that song that captures exactly what we're talking about. The lyrics go, Messiah's pointed to the door, but no one had the guts to leave the temple. That's a defining question for us here today. It's a defining question for us here in our communities, wherever we happen to be. We've been pointed to the door, The door to the high rises where our seniors face profound loneliness. The door to quiet homes struggling with the addiction crisis. The door to the neighborhood still reeling from the loss of our factories. The door leading to the homeless. The door leading to the ball fields, to the prisons, to the pizza shops, to the tattoo parlors. But do we have the guts to leave the temple? If we stay in the garden, we never have to face those sore spots. But an altogether faith doesn't look away. Jesus didn't stay in the temple. He went to the street corners. He went to where the pain was. As the song says, freedom, taste of reality. Great, now it's stuck in my head again. It's time to stop looking in the mirror and start walking through the door. And I know it feels like a lot. I know it feels like we're moving from the safety of the garden into the chaos of the forest, but we cannot let fear paralyze us. We cannot let fear paralyze us. We have to move from the abstract idea of being a pioneer into the concrete reality of being one. So there are 3 very practical staff-in-hand type of experiments for y'all to think about this week. Dinner church. Not in the building, not downstairs in the fellowship hall. Invite a stranger over for a simple meal. Maybe go to Oscars and have somebody join you. Don't start by preaching. Just start by listening. What about a wilderness church? Look at the hiking boots. Ask a friend to go for a walk on the C&O Canal or a local trail. As you walk, simply ask, is there anything on your heart I can pray for? And this was my favorite this week. Look at the slice of pizza in your hand maybe this week. Go to your favorite local spot. This week I went to Coney Pizza. My gosh, that was good pizza too. I pulled up an extra chair and I was just present with a couple people, showing the world that the church is a group of neighbors who love to share life together. You don't have to preach a sermon. You just have to be present. Maybe you're still waiting for a big sign from heaven. Maybe you're looking for a burning bush. But look at the story of the wedding in Cana. John 2:5. When the wine ran out, Mary simply looked at the servants and gave them the ultimate pioneer's directive. The ultimate and hardest and easiest at the same time directive. Just do whatever he says. Do whatever he tells you. That is the secret of the altogether life. Don't worry about the outcome. Just do the next small, faithful thing that he puts in front of you. I'm not the hero of the story, and this building is not the end of our mission. Everybody in here, everybody watching online, you're pioneers. You don't need a degree. You don't need to have experience preaching. You need a posture of love. You don't need a strategy. You just need to listen. Start by loving. The Holy Spirit is already at work in our neighborhoods. You just get going to join them there. The Apostle Paul once wrote a wake-up call to a church that had grown a bit too comfy. He said, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Now, Paul wasn't talking to people who were literally asleep. He was talking to people who were almost alive. There's a cost to this. You will feel awkward. You will feel like you're gambling and grabbing a snake by the tail. But remember, the shepherd is with you. He's in the mud. He's on the path. He's in the pizza shop. So are you ready to stop being almost and start being all together? Are you ready to throw down your staff, your plate, your boots, your pizza, and see what God can do? So wake up, sleepers. Rise up, and Christ will shine on you. So let's go find where the shepherd is moving and let's meet him there.